It was 6:47 p.m. on a rainy Tuesday when Amber Lee, a 26-year-old schoolteacher, swiped her keycard and walked into her apartment complex in downtown Chicago. Surveillance captured her holding a brown paper bag of groceries, her umbrella dripping rainwater. She smiled at the doorman, waved to a neighbor, and disappeared into the elevator. She never came out. That was the last time anyone saw Amber alive. Amber wasn't the kind of person who just vanished. She called her mom every morning before work. She shared a Spotify playlist with her little brother. She had a fiancé, Jordan, who she was supposed to marry in 8 weeks. But that night, after stepping into her apartment building, all communication stopped. Her phone stopped pinging. Her Apple Watch never registered her steps, and her front door never opened again. By midnight, Jordan was calling her non-stop. By morning, her mother was in tears. By 8 a.m., police were outside her building, knocking on doors. What they found was nothing. No signs of struggle, no forced entry, no security footage of her leaving. Her apartment was locked from the inside and empty. Her groceries were never unpacked. Amber lived on the 14th floor of the Monarch Residences, a high-security building equipped with keycard access, 24-hour cameras, and biometric locks. According to the logs, no one else entered her unit that night. Police reviewed 23 hours of footage. They saw her step out of the elevator. They saw her unlock her apartment door. Then, nothing. She vanished between two walls. Detectives scoured the apartment. Everything seemed untouched. Her keys were on the counter. Her phone was missing. Her favorite cardigan was still draped on the couch. The only thing that didn't belong was the faint scent of men's cologne lingering in the hallway. Not her fiancé's brand. And then came the detail that sent a shiver down the lead detective's spine. The neighbor in 14B, Mr. Harlow, had requested maintenance on his AC unit at exactly 7 p.m. that night, right after Amber went missing. When officers knocked on his door, he answered in a bathrobe, mid-shave, completely calm. Mr. Harlow was 52, a quiet, retired architect who mostly kept to himself. People said he was polite, lived alone, hosted no visitors, but when asked about Amber, he said something strange. "Oh, that sweet girl. I saw her get into the elevator. Must have been around 7. Hope she's all right." Only one problem. Amber didn't get into the elevator again. She never left the 14th floor. That's when police noticed something else. The floor plan for apartments 14A and 14B, Amber's and Harlow's, shared a thin, sealed utility wall. Behind that wall were air ducts, electrical lines, and just enough crawl space for a person to move through. Building blueprints revealed that years ago, that space was meant to hold emergency fire ladders. But it had long been sealed off. Or so they thought. Maintenance logs showed no recent work in that wall, but when officers ran a thermal scan, they found heat signatures. A warrant was filed immediately. When they broke through the drywall in Amber's bedroom closet, what they uncovered was every woman's nightmare. A hidden access panel had been carved behind her shoe rack. The screws were freshly removed. The crawl space inside was tight, only about 3 feet wide. Inside it, they found strands of Amber's hair, a button from her coat, and something worse. A used surgical glove, stuffed into a crevice, still damp. Police re-entered Harlow's unit, this time with force. They searched his apartment top to bottom. No sign of Amber, no blood, no obvious weapons, but under his floorboards, beneath the bedroom carpet, they found a small hatch leading into the same crawl space. And that's where the real horror began. Inside the wall, they found items that didn't belong to Harlow. A woman's necklace, Lipstick. A torn receipt from a pharmacy dated 3 months ago, with the name J. Rivera on it. It didn't take long to trace that name. Jessica Rivera had gone missing in this same neighborhood just 12 weeks prior. And suddenly, Amber's case wasn't about one missing woman. It was about a pattern. Detectives now suspected Harlow had used the crawlspace to access Amber's apartment after she walked in. He knew the schedule, knew when she shopped, knew when Jordan would be out of town for his bachelor weekend, but Harlow wasn't arrested. Not yet. Because just as the evidence was mounting, he disappeared. Left behind a note on the bathroom mirror, scrawled in red marker, "You're too late. Some ghosts don't stay buried." The story hit national news within hours. Women in the building moved out. Protesters camped outside Monarch residences. And across the country, 2 more cold cases were reopened. Victims who had lived in buildings Harlow once designed. But Amber was still missing. That is, until 6 days later, when Jordan got a call from Amber's phone. No one spoke on the other end, just the sound of labored breathing. And then, faintly, a woman whispering behind the mirror, "Please." The call traced back to a motel 90 miles away, near a place called White Creek. By the time police arrived, the room was empty. But the mirror, it was cracked, and behind it was a tunnel leading underground, and a single red thread tied to a silver necklace. Amber's. The tunnel behind the cracked motel mirror wasn't new. Its walls were damp with age, lined with rotting wood beams and rusted nails. But what chilled investigators wasn't the structure itself. It was the scratches. Dozens, maybe hundreds, of scratch marks along the walls. Nail deep, erratic. As if someone, or something, had tried desperately to claw their way out. At the end of the tunnel, police discovered a hidden basement. A single light bulb dangled from the ceiling, flickering. The room was empty. Except for 2 things: a mattress, stained, and a worn cassette recorder, already playing on loop. Static. She was never supposed to be next. She saw me. She saw me behind the wall. Static. There's more than one of us. The voice wasn't Harlow's. It was a woman. Back at headquarters, detectives were stunned. If it wasn't Harlow's voice, then who was in that tunnel with Amber? As they processed the audio, a chilling theory emerged. Amber might still be alive. But Harlow may not have been acting alone. 3 days later, that theory was confirmed. A man walking his dog near an abandoned chapel 40 miles from White Creek stumbled upon a human foot sticking out of a shallow grave. Forensics confirmed it wasn't Amber. It was Jessica Rivera, the missing woman from 3 months earlier. She'd been buried with her wrists zip-tied, mouth taped, and a Polaroid tucked into her shirt. The photo was dated 2 days after her disappearance. In it, Jessica stood in the same motel basement with someone else. But the second person's face had been burned out, literally, melted from the film using a lighter. A tech specialist reversed the image distortion. What they found made everyone in the room go cold. The second person was Amber Lee, standing, breathing, with a terrified expression. And next to her, a woman with shoulder-length dark hair, smiling directly at the camera. The same voice from the tape. The FBI released the image to the public. Within hours, tips flooded in. Someone recognized the woman from an old missing persons flyer, Erin Dawes. Erin vanished 7 years ago in Arizona, declared legally dead. But now she was alive and holding women hostage. The case had officially gone from kidnapping to a cult of captivity. While police scoured Aaron's background, another thread unraveled. An ex-con named Liam Trace came forward. He'd been in prison with Harlow in the early 2000s. Said Harlow was obsessed with home design and control fantasies. But more importantly, Liam said Harlow once talked about a group called the Architects, not just designers of buildings, but of human obedience. He said walls could keep things in, or let things out, Liam said. He didn't just build homes, he built cages. The working theory? Harlow wasn't just stalking Amber. He was recruiting her. A young, independent woman, intelligent, resilient, the perfect test subject for Aaron's program. It was never about murder, it was about breaking her. But Amber didn't break. She resisted. And now, Aaron's secret was exposed. 2 weeks later, a miracle happened. At 4:12 a.m., a woman showed up barefoot outside a gas station in Ashbrook, Iowa, 5 states away. Bruised, gaunt, wearing a motel bathrobe and clutching a rusted pipe. It was Amber. She'd escaped. But her story wasn't what anyone expected. Inside the hospital, she whispered only 4 words to the nurse. "There's another girl." Amber was treated for malnutrition and dehydration. Her wrists bore deep ligature scars. She refused to speak to the press. When detectives questioned her, she gave one name: Maya. A teenage girl about 15, still being held in the second house. That's when Amber collapsed. Authorities traced Maya to a missing child report from 4 years ago. Maya Carlton, abducted from a foster home in Michigan. She'd been gone without a trace. And now, Amber said she was alive, in another location Aaron used. But before they could get the address from Amber, she went into septic shock. As she was rushed into emergency surgery, the hospital received an anonymous call, a raspy female voice. She shouldn't have run. Now, the girl pays the price. Police raced to triangulate the call. It came from a burner phone, found in a dumpster, just 1 block from Amber's childhood home, and scratched into the back casing. A single phrase: "Come home, Amber. Where is Maya? Who is Aaron Dawes? And why was Amber chosen?"